Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to this week's Elliott Wave Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope you all had a great weekend. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon, sunny this afternoon, beautiful weather, nice and warm. Hope you're all having a great time as well. All right, so we will be looking at some interesting setups this week. The market is starting to get clearer, and I've always said that there is a difference between forecasting and trading, and I'm going to show you with the trade recaps here of the last 2 months trades, the difference between forecasting and trading. So most of the people can focus, but when it comes to trading, that is where the challenge lies. Looking at the couple of setups that are on our trade setups, 95% of those forecasts have played out exactly as we've analyzed, and about 65 to 70% of the actual trades have played out. So that is the difference between forecasting and trading, and I'm going to show that when we start with the trade recap. But before we start with that, all the pairs that we're going to discuss this afternoon are time-stamped. So if you go to my channel, you can just click on any of my videos and you will go straight to timestamps. So you don't have to watch through everything. You can only watch only the specific pairs that you're interested in. So with that, you just click on the show more tab. You will find that all the timestamps, all the pairs are timestamped. Thank you, Mike, for all the excellent work you're doing. So this actually helps a lot. So you can go to any pair and just click as far back as 2 years, 3 years to see how the setups have been playing out. But for now, you can just look at the last 3 months or the last 4 months of the trade setups that of the forecasting that we've been doing here. So this is forecasting. What I do here is actually forecasting and not trading. Sometimes I do give some good trade setups as they play out and what to look out for a trade to play out. Okay, so that is the timestamps there. They will be available a couple of hours after the video has been uploaded, so don't rush it. As soon as it's done, it will be uploaded. And that also on the description you will find my contact details. That is my email address, my mobile number, which you can use via Telegram or WhatsApp, as well as my Telegram channel. Trading View link, you'll find it all there as well. Okay, so our next course is going to be from the 9th of September. From the 9th of September. Next week is the last opportunity to join us for the September course. The last course of the year is going to be in November. So if you miss the September course, you will have the last chance to join the course in November. So for more details on the course, send me an email or rather a WhatsApp or Telegram or any of the contact methods that is easiest for you there. Right, so it's a 2 weeks course. And as I said, for more details, you can just text me and say course inquiries. I want more information. Even if you're not interested in joining now, just so you can have information on what we do. Most of the people will spend about 6 months to a year, because most of the people, when they join, they'll be like, I've been watching the videos for the last couple of months, years, and now I'm ready to join. So I like those kind of people because they've done their research, they've seen how this works, and it is something that will be interested in. So if it is something that you'll be interested in, you've done your homework and you're interested in what we do, you can contact me for the next course. 9th of September, it's 2 weeks, then we'll be starting. All right, let's get started with today's analysis. We'll start with the trade recaps of the last 2 months. We've already looked at most of these trades, but some of them had not played out. So not necessarily trades. Let's just go play this back as far back as the start of July, so we can look at this. So one of the good examples of what the difference between trading and forecasting is the CHFJPY pair that we have looked at. So let's have a look at that one first. So I was just looking at this pair shortly before we got started here. Let's look for it now. Scroll up to CHFJPY. Now this is CHFJPY. This is where the forecasting started on this pair. Now I've seen people do this before and after trades, where you post a chart and then they send a chart that had played out later. But did you actually trade that? because now if you look at this, I am forecasting that this pair is from here, we're going to get a correction, which we did get, and it's going to drop up to this level. It took a couple of weeks for us to eventually get to this level. Now, this is forecasting. It's not trading. I'm showing that the price is going to come from here and it's going to come to this level. Now, what is trading? Trading is what we do through the swing. And this is what we look at here. So let's have a look at the updates here on the thread. So you see that is the update. Now, this is when you're getting an entry point. Now, this is actually trading. You get an entry point, you get a stop loss, and then you get a take profit level. Clear setup. Now you enter and you let the trade play out. Now, this is now what you're looking for. The trade has actually done the corrective structure that we're looking for, and we're still looking to trade it to the downside, right? That's how it goes. And then more updates on that. Now, this is an actually pinpointed trade that you've all seen here during this market analysis, showing that we are going to sell some more from the blue box. Now, this is that corrective structure that we were looking for. It started with a corrective structure, played out like this. Okay, and then eventually it made a pullback in 3 waves, so that means you had 3 up, 3 back, and we could see that we have a clear regular flat. So right from the blue box, you see the drop. Okay, now let's have a look here at how that plays out from the blue box. So from that blue box, this is where what happens here. Starts playing out from there, and then that is your trade, and eventually getting to that forecasting level that that I showed you from the very beginning. Now this is trading. This is the actual trade. I showed that we needed to get a corrective structure when we're still here. That is the corrective structure that we got, and this is how the move went. Now, that is actual trading, is actually pinpointing where to enter, when to put your stop loss, and where to take your profits. And that is how this trade has played out. Now, looking at another one, there was AUDJPY. I have not shown you this one before. Now, you can see that at that time, all the yen pairs were dropping. But instead of this one dropping immediately, it went and made it went sideways until it eventually dropped here. Now, the drop then is the actual trade. Now, let's have a look at the update on this one. That is how this one has now dropped. Can you see there? But how do you trade this piece to the downside? So you need to get an entry point. You need to have a strategy that tells you downwards, because we were looking for it to just drop from here. And I actually did not take this trade. I didn't take this trade, although the forecast was correct. I did not take this trade because it did not give me a trade setup. But that's okay, because there's many others that you could actually trade. Pound US dollar, you've seen this one before. I've sent you the updates. I've sent you entry points. No, not for you guys. The entry points are for our group. So this is pound US dollar, and these are the updates on the pound US dollar pair. You can see from there was the entry, sort of the forecast, and you'll see that this is now how this played out. This was not the final. This was not the final take profit area. This one still needed to drop. And all of this you will find as you go with previous videos. Now, this is the actual trade on this pair, showing you that it's going to push a little bit higher and it's going to reverse from the blue box. This has now eventually done this, and now we're making this big corrective structure that we're going to look at now during the market analysis. So you see the pinpointed areas are the actual trades. That's how you take the trades. Right, so forecasting does not mean anything. This is how this one played out from the blue box, right from the blue box. Just a measly few pips in the blue box, and then you drop like this. Now it is doing this. Now we're going to look at this corrective structure and see how we can trade that. Right, so that is pound US dollar. Let's look at some more. New Zealand, you can see New Zealand has done the same thing as Audi yen, gone sideways, and then we dropped. Now let's look at the update on that one. That is forecasting. I also did not trade this one, even though you knew that it was going to come down. Because it does not confirm your strategy, you don't take the trade. So this is one. This is how this one eventually played out. Then that is the drop. You can see that this is what I wanted it to drop, but it had to push back one up before we come down. You know where the direction is supposed to be because the cycle and the sequence was incomplete, and that's how we played out. Gold, we've already looked at this one. It has played out exactly as we wanted it. It has gone to 1,500. As I've said last time, for the last 2 weeks, I've exited all my gold positions, and I'm now looking for a deeper pullback. So we'll update that as we do the market analysis shortly. That is gold, and this is silver. The same thing, has reached target. You can actually go to the previous videos to see how this one has played out. I've already done that. I don't want to go through everything because that's a lot of trades. Euro New Zealand, we will update this one. Dropped 700 pips, 700 out of 1,000 pips, and then pushed back up again. We'll update that one as well. This is US dollar JPY, played out exactly as we wanted it to. This is now pound yen. We've looked at pound yen in July as well. Has played out almost 4 trades doing exactly the same thing. This is a trade from the blue box, correction again. So this was the first trade, number 1. Number 2, there's 3 more if you look at the updates. Trades, actual trades, not forecasting. Now if you look at this one, this is the updates on this one. Almost 700, 800 pips of trades, actual trades on this one. So you see here, this was the first one here. Where are more updates here? Okay, so I'll look at the next one. It will be on the next one. This is Chief. Let's scroll. All right. Thank you for confirming. Right. Excellent. Right, so that is EURAUD. I just want to look at the latest ones. So the latest ones, we've been looking at pullbacks. I'm not going to go through everything because that's a lot of trades. So one of the nice trades that we took in July was this US dollar JPY that we could pinpoint how 3 moves before it playing out. See here, we wanted it to just push into the blue box and drop, and that is exactly what has happened for over 300 pips. This is how this one played out. It's one of the amazing trades that we took in July. See, exactly as forecasted, you see it goes right into the blue box and then drops. No issues there. Right, now let's look at the latest one. The latest one, we've been looking mostly at the pound pairs and the corrective structures that are playing out currently. And that is what I'm going to focus on during the market analysis. Right, this is Euro New Zealand. These are trades from the last week. They have not played out as yet. In fact, this one has pushed up a little bit higher than forecasted there, but that's okay. That's forecasting. We're still looking for entry points. Okay, so we'll be looking for this one to eventually drop. It has come up to this level. We'll be looking for it to do that. All right. Let's look at this one. This is EURCHF. EURCHF, I'm going to update this one during the market analysis now as we start. Let's open this one up. All right, so now this is a new trade that I'm looking at here. I will give you an update on this one. It's starting to set up very nicely for this downside. So that's how this plays out. There's a difference between forecasting and taking a trade. You can know the direction of the market and watch it go without making a cent out of it if you don't have a strategy. And that is what we have. We've got a specific strategy that confirms when to take the trades. Right, so 95% forecasting accuracy, 65 to 70% actual trading accuracy on the pairs. Right, so now let's get started with the market analysis. Start with we'll start with the cryptocurrencies. Now let's start with BTC. Okay, guys, it looks like we've got an issue with the internet connection today. Let me just hold on. Let me fix something here quickly. Hold on a second, guys. I'm gonna sort this out in the next 5 minutes, guys. Please just give me, just bear with me. Right, so Bitcoin, let's resume again. Thank you for your patience. Thank you. Bitcoin. I've shown you 4 different patterns from Euro, US dollar. You can watch last week's video and the week before's video. I've shown you patterns that Bitcoin is going to follow, and that has been going exactly as forecasted. All right, so what is happening with Bitcoin now? Let me go to the daily. I'm going to first look at the daily. This is what we looked at. This is what we looked at on Bitcoin. Let's get my annotation out there. So I said Bitcoin is going to do this pattern. It's 3 waves down, and you're going to have a pullback. You've got 1, 2, 3 down here. You've got a pullback in 3 waves. And as I've shown with those patterns, we said we are going to get a move down, a pullback, and this one is going to do this. That was not in blue. You can have a move down, you can have a pullback, and this is the move that we're looking to happen here on Bitcoin. We're looking for this to happen now. Now, some people are looking at this as at a triangle. I mean, I don't think there's any trader with some experience who cannot notice that this is triangular. And that is what they want to make you see. And not every move that goes diagonally like this or that contracts is a triangle. There are rules for a triangle, and this one is not a triangle. Right, so now let's with the experience of trading that I've got. I mean, I've been trading for the past 6 years, and I looked at these charts on a daily basis. Now, when you see something familiar, it always reminds you of another pattern, because these are all patterns that we're looking at here. Now, looking at this, I've seen the exact same pattern, not only on Euro, US dollar, and Bitcoin, but 2016 on gold. Something similar like this has happened, and let's see how that has played out. And most of the people were also looking at that to be a triangle. It cannot be that obvious. Okay, if it was that obvious, everybody's going to make money and everybody's going to be a millionaire here. Now let's look at this one. This pattern that has happened in 2016. I just marked it. Can you see that this is exactly the same thing that is happening with Bitcoin? Now, if I take this one here and cut it out here, you'll see that it's exactly the same thing that we have on Bitcoin right now. Now, if you have this here, you'll see that everybody would expect, okay, this is a triangle. They start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and after 5, you want it to go up. Now, what happens after that? It actually goes down, because it cannot be that obvious. Okay, there has to be winners and losers, right? There has to be winners and losers. Let's go back to that pattern again. See, very clear, looked like a triangle, gets everybody fooled, and then it drops. Okay, so don't trade the obvious things. Look at the sequence in the cycle, and because the market moves in waves, so that's what we should be looking at. Okay, so I'm not looking at gold as yet. I'm still looking at Bitcoin. And what is happening with Bitcoin now? What do we expect? We expect that continuation to the downside now. That is Brent crude. Let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, what are we looking for now? We're looking for this to correct here and push lower. Okay, so there's a little small correction happening there in the lower degree. Let's have a look at it in the 4-hour and the 1 hour. That pullback that happened 2 weeks ago that we expected has now dropped. We made another one that happened last week, then it has now dropped. You're getting another one here. We're expecting further drop from here. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at. If we get any bounce here, it should go back up to the line there, and then we'll update the sequence accordingly. But for now, this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking for the drop to the downside. Okay, somebody's asking, crypto, can we make all crypto in daily analysis? Are you in our group? I think you are in our group, yeah, and that's okay. If we can look at that in our group. All right, so now that is Bitcoin. Let's look at Ethereum. So all the cryptos, you'll be looking at this small corrective structure and looking for it to drop further. So all the cryptocurrencies, you're just looking for this 1, 2, 3 corrective structure, pull back here. That's the trade for the next couple of sessions. Further drop there. That is on Ethereum. On Litecoin, you're looking at the same thing. They've all got this similar structure in the lower degree, looking for them to drop. Okay. That is Litecoin and Ripple. It's the same. Let's have a look at Ripple. Now this is the trade. So Ripple could do this. You've got a small impulsive move there. You've got a bit of a corrective structure. Even if you get something like this, that will be a 3-wave pullback, and then you'll expect this one to drop a little bit further. Okay, so the cryptos, we're looking downside for the next couple of sessions. Right, we'll update this next week. Right, so that is the cryptocurrencies. Now let's look at the indices. Start with the S&P 500. Last week we looked at this structure. 1, 2, 3, and then we were looking at this one to be making the drop here. We expected the corrective structure to push lower. As you can see, we've made this bounce back up here, so that changes the structure a little bit. Now then, this actually looks like a triangle. Let's have a look here. If we're getting a triangle, it can either be a triangle or a complex corrective structure. Now, if this is a triangle, this would be your A, B, C, D, E, and we'll be expecting this to drop here to get this structure. Okay, so that would be an ABC structure. So where does this ABC structure fit in to the whole price move? So let's have a look here. On the higher degree, this is what you're looking for. Remember, we are currently in wave 5 in the higher degree. This is the higher wave 5. So this could be making a diagonal. So you could be getting a 1, a 2. Now your diagonal starts there. You get 1, 2, 3. That could be your wave 3 there. 4 and a 5. So that will be your structure, and then you'll expect the bigger corrective structure. We're currently completing the wave 5 here in the higher degree. Now let's show you where that wave 5 comes from the higher degree structure. If I show you on the daily, let's just see where that wave 5 comes from. Excuse the clutter there. That's where that wave 5 comes from. That's easy and obvious for everyone to see. Now we're just looking for this wave 5 to end with a possible diagonal here. Now let's see how that plays out. Okay, it doesn't look like the S&P 500 or the indices are ready to drop as yet, but they will crawl up higher to complete this last wave 5 here before we get a bigger pullback. And remember, that is a big pullback. It is not a crash of the market. It will be a big corrective structure. All right, so how the corrective structure is going to look, that's the only thing that you won't know, but you know that it's going to be a correction. Right, so that is the S&P 500, and that's what you're going to be looking for in the lower degree. The Dow is similar in structure in the lower degree. Let's have a look here on the daily. Those are the structures that you'll be looking for. You'll be looking for this to make 3 wave moves like this. You're looking for this. Okay, you're looking for that to drop to that level. So that is the Dow. The NASDAQ is the same. Those are the structures that you're looking for. Even if this one pushes a little bit higher like this, eventually there will be a 3-wave move, and we'll be looking for this one to drop here up to this level. Okay, that is the NASDAQ, and looking at the DAX. DAX is making a clear 3-wave pullback as well. It's not going sideways. That is a 3-wave pullback, and that 3-wave pullback can drop here like that. You can see here you've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That can be an A, B, and a C structure before we resume with the move to the upside. So let's look at this one to drop for the next couple of sessions. UK 100. UK 100, similar to S&P 500. We're looking at this as a pulsing move down, and this one as a corrective structure. So this can go even more sideways before we get this. Okay, but for now, we're looking for this to do this. As soon as this corrective structure is complete, we should get 1, 2, and a 3. That is the UK 100. The NIKKEI, similar structure, not a smooth chart, but we'll be looking for this to do this. You can see we've got a 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3 up. Could be a 1, 2, 3 down. One more down before we get a pullback to the upside. This will be a WXY structure, and the whole thing here will be this move. Move up, correction, and a move up. And this move up will be a bigger W structure. This corrective structure will be a bigger X structure. Let's put it in bracket to show it's a higher degree, and that's what you're going to be looking for. You're going to be looking for this to push higher afterwards. Okay, for now, we're looking for this to drop. That is your corrective structure, and come down to this level. That is the NIKKEI. All right, and that's all the indices. The NIFTY. Let's get the NIFTY. Nifty, we are looking at this structure as either an expanding flat. Let's use the yellow here. Switch off this. Either as an expanding flat, we've been looking at this one to be making the structure from here. Either an expanding flat or a running flat. 1, 2, 3. This can reverse at any time and push higher, and it will not invalidate the structure that is anticipated. So this can be a running flat, or it can come and break the low here and make an expanding flat. So either way, this one can play out. You just want to get confirmation here. For now, you've got an impulsive move. If we start correcting here, then we're going to have that running flat playing out. Also, you need to be careful that that running flat this here may also just be making a 3-wave pullback, and then we're going to come down here. Then that makes this a WXY structure. Okay, so be careful when you trade here. You need to get confirmation for the structure that's going to play out here. All right, that is the Nifty. All right, so that's what you're going to be looking at on the cryptos and the indices. I think we've covered all of that. And let's now look at, did we do UK 100? Yes, we have done UK 100 as well. So now let's look at the majors, the US dollar pairs. Start with Euro US dollar. Now, Euro US dollar, we're at a critical point now that we forecasted that was going to happen from last week here. So initially we thought this was going to be the end of our wave 5 here, and then we're going to get the pullback in 3 waves. Okay, so this actually made a higher degree. Now you see here you've got another 3-wave structure that is similar to the first one. So now we looked at that to be the whole wave 5. That is 3 waves up, 3-wave pullback, 3 waves down, making this to be a wave 5. Are we now ready to make that pullback from these levels? So that pullback does not have to be sharp. It can just be sideways as well. It can make a regular flat, an expanding flat, whichever structure it will form before we make a move to the downside. So we need to watch in the next coming session if we're going to get the reversal here. Why do we want a reversal? Because we're looking at this as the ending diagonal. We're looking at this to be an ending diagonal with the wave 5 overshooting here at the bottom, something like this. Something like that. Now this is our last wave 4 here. I'll show the actual labeling here when you're done. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is wave 5 that we're looking to complete here, and we're expecting the pullback to now come before we get a continuation pattern to the downside. So that's what we're looking at. Now just to show the structure here, you can take a snapshot. I think most of you have seen this a couple of times. This is what we're looking for. We've now overshot here onto this wave 5. If we're wrong about this structure, then we're going to have to wait for this pullback here, and that will continue to the downside. Then we'll update the structure, that will invalidate the whole structure that we're looking at. But for now, we are anticipating a pullback. Even if this pushes a little bit lower, we'll watch and see if we don't get a pullback here. Now, on the daily, we don't have divergence. Let's see if we've got divergence on the 4-hour. There's also no divergence on the 4-hour either. So that may push a little bit lower. So let's watch what happens there. Okay, it will be very interesting to see if we're going to get that pullback. Okay, let's see. You don't do anything, you don't have a trade set up as yet. What you are going to wait for is for this to, let's show this one here on the 4-hour. I'm going to go back to the daily, show what you need to, when to trade that. Only when this structure, this trend here is done. Let's show it in yellow. When this is done here, we'll be looking for this to break out of here, correction, and then move to the upside. When you get this corrective structure, that's when you know that you're going to have that pullback. So this pullback can even go as far as the 61% of the whole move. So that means the correction can even come back up to the 61% of this year. So let's watch and see what happens there. We are currently at the 61% of this, but it doesn't really matter. Let's see. We need to get a confirmation anyway. That is Euro US dollar, looking very interesting. Pound US dollar. Let's go to the lower degree. 4-hour. Let's just fix this one here. It needs to be very low degree and make this red. Just fix this quickly. Color here needs to be red. Right, let's go 1 hour. Get auto. So now, pound US dollar has made this corrective structure. We first sold here from the blue box, made a move to the downside, and then we eventually wanted to sell from the blue box, but did not play out. Now we've got this move to the downside, but this move to the downside is not happening impulsively. We've got an impulse here, and it looks like we're getting a bit of a corrective structure here. 1, 2. We don't have this one yet, so it can push back up to this here. And if we get that, then we'll look for this one to come down here. But even that is still a 3 up, 3 back that can give you another 3 up here before you drop. Now let's switch this off so you can see the structure that I'm looking at. I'm looking at 3 up, that's 3 waves, 3 back, can do that, and a Y, WXY, before you get a drop to the downside. So you can get that Y, or this could be all the correction that you want. This could be a WXY, and that could be complete, and then we'll be looking for this one to drop from there. So that will be all the correction in red, only the red degree, and then we drop like that. Okay, but for now, let's wait for this corrective structure to play out here. Then we get a trade setup. If we get a trade set up for downside, we take it and then manage it, move it to break even as soon as it gets to around this same length as that, because there's a possibility of this before we drop. Okay, so let's watch it. US dollar CAD. US dollar CAD, also very interesting. This is my forecast on this pair. Excuse the clutter, I just need to clean it up a bit. Let me go back up to the 4 hour. Right, so on the 4 hour, it's a lot clearer. Let's take this off. Take this off. Clean it up. Now we've got a 3-wave move to the upside on US dollar CAD. 1, 2, 3, just to show what 3 waves I'm talking about. Now you've got a pullback impulsively here, and there's a likelihood that this structure here is a 3-wave structure that pushes higher. You come down with this one here, making this a bigger WX, and then we look for the 3 waves up here like that. And that will confirm that setup that we had from here, that we are going to get this to push higher. Okay, now this was not tradable here. You didn't have very good setups here, according to our strategy at least. So we will see if we get a push to the downside and get a new entry here. But the main move here, the bigger move here, is to the downside when this is complete. Okay, so you can be taking these short-term trades to other upside, but the bigger move is this one to the downside. Okay, so for now, you need to watch for a bit of a push up here. If you're taking this trade here, you need to be very careful, because from here it can reverse and make this structure, because that is the structure that we'll be looking for here. Okay, so that is a US dollar CAD, US dollar CHF. US dollar CHF just doing what the opposite of what the euro is doing. So this is a 3-wave move here. We expected the euro to push a little bit lower. When it does that, this will be a 3-wave move, and this one should be pushing lower now. Okay, so the higher degree structure for US dollar CHF is for this to push even lower. 2 ways you can look at this. We are looking for US dollar CHF to come down to this level, making this 1, 2, 3-wave structure. Now, if you look at this 3-wave structure that I'm looking at here, you'll see that we've got 1, 2, 3 waves, 1, 2, 3 waves, 1, 2, 3 waves. So that is what we're looking for here. We're looking for this one to drop. And if this one drops, it's confirming that the euro will start with a push to the upside. Okay, so let's see how that goes. You need to watch this here. This 3-wave move here, that is US dollar CHF. Right, Audi US dollar. Audi US dollar, I'm going to go to the lower time frame here. I'm expecting a bit of a bounce here at current levels. Let's go to the 4 hour. You see what I mean by why I'm expecting a bounce there. The current structure on AUD US dollar is exactly similar to what has happened in a couple of days ago with US dollar JPY. We'll show you that just now. So US dollar JPY made this structure here like that, and then it pushed higher. Now, AUD US dollar is making the same structure. Let me first show you the one on US dollar JPY first, and then why I expect that it's going to push higher again. US dollar JPY. This is where that structure happened. You see, you've got a pulsing move, and this is dropping like this. It's actually completed this. But where are we with the AUD US dollar? With AUD US dollar, you've got a pulse, and you've got this now. What am I expecting? I'm expecting this pulsing move to the upside. I'm expecting this pulsing move to the upside. It's going to be a quick move, but that's not a reversal. It's just a pullback. This is what they call a short squeeze. All those people in short positions will be squeezed out thinking that this is reversing. And let's look at AUD here. So that should possibly come now. So you've got the impulse, and now you need to get that push up. You can get this quick impulsive move here and then come back down here again. Now that will be a 1, 2, 3-wave structure, and then we continue with the move to the downside. This will be your overall bigger structure. If I switch this off here, just make it clear, this will be your W, this will be your X, this will be your Y, and then we continue with the move to the upside. So this will just be a short squeeze. Okay, let's see how that plays out. Right, that is AUD. New Zealand is same. You should get that pushback up here, making this bigger structure here. I have to look this one on the daily. So on the daily, you'll be looking for a bit of a short squeeze here before we continue with the trend down. Now, just back one out on AUD US dollar, the long-term view on this on the weekly. If you're interested in this, we're looking for this to push lower. So any pullback is an opportunity to sell. Any pullback is an opportunity to sell, because on the weekly, we've got this structure. So even if we get this here to go retest the top here, we're just going to be looking for this structure to happen, which is similar to this one here. So that's why I'm just expecting a bounce here, and then we continue with the move to the downside. Very clear structure here. That's AUD US dollar. New Zealand we've looked at just now. Now we can look at US dollar ZAR. Now US dollar ZAR, the overall target, I'm still on the weekly here. Overall target here, short-term target was this to retest the 1580 area. Okay, the 12 months high here. So we're still here. There's still a good chance that this will push to that level. So let's have a look in the lower degree if we're getting a corrective structure or a continuation pattern to touch that level. And why are we looking at that level anyway? So let's have a look here. The structure that we're looking at is this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now this 3 is incomplete, and we want it to do this. This is a running flat there. This is an expanding flat, an exhibition of corrections there. Now you just want this one to touch here. So there is no rule that says this must touch here, but as far as this is concerned, even if this drops here, and make a 5-wave structure, that's still okay. That's still a flat correction. Even if it makes a 3-wave structure, that will just be a different structure that we'll look at now. But this is what we're looking at long term. We're looking for long-term weakness on the US dollar ZAR, but strength first, and then long-term weakness that will come and retest that level. Okay. Now, if you're looking at long-term now, you'll see that you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You see where the forecasting is coming from. All of this, you know what the price is going to do for the next 5 years. That is the beauty of wave analysis. Now, if we have to label this, this will be your WXY, and then you'll be looking for continuation pattern to the upside. For now, let's look at this to retest the top and come back down. Okay, let's look at the short-term in the 4-hour short-term view. See if there's something on the chat box. Okay, nothing there. Let's look there on the 4-hour. Now, on the 4-hour, you're looking at this corrective structure here. This is going sideways. Is this ready to push lower? Is this reversing? As far as I'm concerned, this is only a corrective structure. Okay, it's only a corrective structure. Let's just take this off here. This was when I was showing that it was going to continue pushing higher. That has happened. We're just looking for this to push into the line there. So it does not have to. It can even reverse here. But as it looks now, this looks corrective. This can be a 3-wave move, and then we're going to push higher. We have to look at this whole structure here. This could be your orthodox high, 1, 2, 3, and we push higher, or it can even go more sideways. Okay, for now, just let this corrective structure play out. Up here, I'll just be looking to sell from that level. Okay, that's USDZAR. Now let's look at the yen pairs. Pound yen, we're still going to do all the pound pairs. So now pound yen, similar to pound US dollar, we're expecting this corrective structure to complete and push lower. As much as this is now coming down here, it is not aggressive, and it looks like it's still gonna correct to the upside. Now we're now looking at this as to be a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5 diagonal. Now if that is the diagonal, we'll expect it to have a corrective structure here, corrective structure there, pullback. Now this will make this an ABC structure, ABC, before we get one move to the downside, because we want this to come down to this level. But for now, we're dropping here. I don't think this is the one that's going to continue all the way lower, because it's very corrective. Now let's switch off here. What do we expect? We expect that we've got a 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up diagonal. So we've got an A there. And then if this is the C, then this should be impulsive. Then we'll look for this one to come down. Let's clean this up so you can see where this is coming from. A, B, C structure, whether it's a regular or a zigzag, we'll be looking for this to drop when it is complete. It's coming down now, taking down this trade to the downside. It's a risk. You need to be able to manage it. You must have a strategy to manage this, because this can push up higher. That is pound yen. And that's what all the pound pairs are doing. US dollar yen. Now US dollar yen, I'm looking for continuation patterns to the upside now. If you go a couple of weeks back, I just can't refer you exactly which video, maybe just go to the last month video. You'll see that I've done a long-term view on US dollar JPY. Let me just look at it quickly. US dollar JPY, we are looking for it to push higher from current level, and this is why. And I'm on the weekly now. I'm expecting a bit of a bounce here, a bit of a bounce back to those levels, and then a move to the downside. But why are we looking at that like that? So let's show this before I even show you what the current labeling is. So here you've got a 3-wave move to the downside. 1, 2, 3 down. I'll put that as 1 wave. 1, 2, 3 up. I'll put that as 1 wave as well. Now here we're looking at this to be a corrective structure. A 1 running flat there, 2, 3. Now, if that is the case here, you're gonna have 1, and here I'll use a lower degree here, 1, 2, 3, something like that. This is the bounce that I'm expecting now in green, and I'll expect something like this. What will this do? That means 3 waves down, that's a W, 3 waves up, that's a X, 3 waves down, that's a Y. That Y should retest the low here, and we'll look for this one to give us the structure. 1, and all of this is correcting the blue. After that, we'll look for this to do this. Now in that case, this is now A. One, not WXY, but rather A. There's a difference between ABC and WXY, and that is absolutely critical when you trade wave theory. Now, what do we have there? You've got ABC. Now, this is not done. You can still look at this to have 1. All of this blue will be your correction, and then you look for this one to do this. And now this will be your, let's label this one. This will be your A, this will be your B, this will be your C. Now we're still not done. Let's get a white now. This will be your push higher in white, and all of that pink will be your corrective structure. You see, it's an exhibition of complex corrections there. So where are we now currently with this analysis? If you go back a couple of weeks, you will see that I've done exactly this when we were still right here at the top. We've now dropped, and I'm now expecting this to push a little bit higher. Okay, we've even taken that trade, that 300 pip trade here, because we expected it to come and drop here. Okay, now we're expecting a bounce back to these levels. Let's see if we're going to get that. If you don't get a bounce and you get a corrective structure, that's going to change the structure slightly, but we'll still be within this corrective structure. So this is important to have a long-term view. Now let's go to the short, to the lower time frame here on the 4-hour. Let's get this auto. Now we'll be looking for this. We already have this bounce up here. Let's use yellow. We already have the bounce. This is where we want the bounce now. Back to 110. We already have this now. You have this corrective structure. Can this push higher than that? This needs to at least go sideways. You've got an impulsive move, 1, 2, 3. I think this one can come back here and do something like this, or correct the whole move before pushing higher. But the expectation here is for this to push higher, but we need to get a corrective structure that corrects this whole move here. All right, so that is USDJPY. Watch for a corrective structure for upside. Now this can even do this. This could be an expanding flat that does this here, and this will be even better because that will push this a lot higher. So let's watch. Let's see how this plays out. Right, so that's USDJPY Euro. I showed you Euro. It's one of the trades that we've taken from right at the top, right at the top here, from right here, coming all the way down. Reach target here, and now we're still looking for this to make continuation pattern to the downside. So this could be a three-way move here. We could be getting a bounce here on the Euro. So let's watch here. So this bounce does not mean reversal. Could just be making a similar structure to this one here, and make one more down. Okay, but for now, look to take advantage of this bounce. If it comes, it should come with the Euro US dollar as well. Let's go to the daily, see the higher degree structure here. On the daily, that's what we're looking for there. So on the daily, excuse the clutter. This is why I don't like putting on a lot of letters here because it gets confusing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 11 string sequence. That means a W, X, Y, X, Z structure there. There's a possibility of that. Let's switch this off here. You can look at it as a W, X, Y, X, Z, or you can look at this as the main correction. It's a little bit difficult to see. That's why you need to manage this the way you see it. Okay, so you've got to have W, X, Y, X, Z. Either that, but looking at this now, this already looks overextended compared to this, so we will invalidate this one. Let me clear this. This was another alternative, which is now going to be invalidated. We're looking at this as a W, X, Y. Now this already looks overextended, but now we're now going to stick with the first alternative where this is now the last Z, W, X, Y, X, Z. So let's see how this plays out. At some point now, we need to have a bounce here and get out of this structure and make this one. Okay, this bigger structure, W, X, Y. Now we just need to see where the reversal of this one is going to come. That is Euro US dollar. No new trade there. CHFJPY, I've just shown you during the market analysis how to trade this. I've shown a forecast from here that this was going to drop to at least this level. This level, I expected a bounce here. It can still happen. We've broken here, doesn't mean anything, because breaking here can mean that you're going to have a running flat or you're going to have an expanding flat. So we just need to see which one we're going to get from current levels. So if this one keeps correcting from here, the next target is going to be here. Now let's look at this in the lower degree on the 4 hours, see what's happening there. So on the 4 hour, we've already broken. Breaking does not mean you are gone, guys. You need to get confirmation. This can make an impulse on market open and do this. Go retest the top there, okay? Or if you don't see anything there and you just see corrective structure there, this is going to continue back to this level. Easy as that. Whichever one is going to play out, there's no way you're going to miss it if you know how to track this. That is CHFJPY AUD US dollar. Now AUD making a bit of a bounce there. Making a bit of a bounce. Looks like the yen pair may make a bit of a bounce there. So let's look at this here, making this corrective structure, something like this, a bit of a bounce. Let's see how this plays out. Could even be doing this 1, 2, 3, pushing higher and coming down. And internally here, you'll have this structure A, B, C. That is a complex correction. A, let's label this one in yellow. A, B, the B is your whole red structure there, ABC, and then we continue to the move to the downside. But for now, you're here, you want this to push higher like that. Okay, Audi yen, New Zealand yen, similar structure. 1, 2, 3. This one should push higher and make the structure. Let's see how that plays out. CAD, similar to US dollar yen. So this can lead US dollar yen, and we can see the structure for US dollar yen beforehand. If this one starts pushing lower here, we'll see that this is going to be a corrective structure, and we're going to see a push to the upside. Now making this 1, 2, 3, and then this one making a complex B correction here, A, B, and a C. Okay, and the bigger structure there will be A, either expanding or a running flat. Let's see how this one plays out. Okay, so that is a CAD yen. No trade there. Looking for this one to just come retest the bottom here. This short-term low here. Right, so that is CAD yen. Let's look at silver and gold. We'll start with gold. Now gold, we have taken a trade here in our group that we are managing. So the trade we took was from here, short. Okay, so we're looking for this one to push into the blue box. We've got a blue box here. I'll show the blue box just now. There's a possibility that these can make this structure from the blue box, or the cycle could have ended here. Now we've already moved here. We're going to be moving here to break even. As soon as it goes into the blue box, let's see if it has not moved into the blue boxes yet. We're actually right on the blue box. So this trade can now be moved into break even. Okay, so that means you move to your stop loss to break even to entry, which is here. Now you already have this corrective structure here. We are here in this structure. So if this is not making a three-wave structure, we are going to get this to now start with a pullback. Why do we want the pullback on gold? I said when we got to 1,500, I exited all my positions. This piece I didn't trade, not interested. It's not as part of my structure. As far as I'm concerned, the cycle to the upside here has ended and we need to get a pullback. Okay, so now we're on the short trade. If we are wrong about this, you're already in the break-even trade. This can take you out for no loss. Now, if you're right about this, you're in a risk-free trade, you're just going to make money. So this is a very interesting trade. Either you can either make money, you can only make money on this one, but you cannot lose this trade. Now let's look at why I want the pullback. I'm going to go to the weekly, and this is a structure that I've shown, I think, from a year back, if not two. Okay, I've looked at this for 2 years, and those that have been watching this webinars will know that we've always looked at gold this way. Okay, so this is what I've been looking at on gold. This 1, 2, 3 wave structure here, 5 impulsive wave structure down here, and I've looked at this one as a 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3. Now, those who have been following for a while will know that I was looking for gold to push lower in here first before we get this move to the upside. So that means we missed this first part of the trade. But we got all of this. Okay, so now what are we looking for? What are we looking for now? Let's switch this off so we don't get clutter the chart. Yes, we didn't get this first part, and that's okay. But the next part was almost guaranteed, highly probable, and the chances of losing that trade were very low. Now we're looking for this one to do 1, 2, 3. Now what do you have there? You can have W, you can have X, you can have Y. Now I am looking for this pullback here. Either this is going to make another X here. Let's make this in full. If I make this full screen, it's going to shift. Either we're going to make another X and make another double, or this, we get this move. But they don't move the market that impulsively that much. So I'm expecting that this may still go sideways even more. So we should get a pullback from current levels, and that's what I'm expecting. An impulse and a correction. So we get something like this. So I'm not gonna do this and say we're gonna get this move. That's too much of a straight line, and that's too obvious. So the likelihood is that this, you get 1, 2, 3 up here, you get 1, 2, 3 down there, get a move up here, get this. Now that fills up the chart, and then you can get something like this. So that means for the next couple of weeks, months, gold can still be in the corrective structure, and that will be a WXY structure, and that is how you focused. But it doesn't matter what you're focusing ahead here. What is the immediate view here? The immediate view is that you need to get a pullback at least. Let's see what you get around here. We're expecting a pullback. Right, so that is what gold looks like, and in the lower degree, we're already in the trade here. So let's see how that one plays out. It's a trade that you cannot lose because it's already in break even. Silver. So silver, let's see here, you should also get a pullback here because something like this here. After the pullback, we should get this to come back to that level. Now, what do we want that? You get a move down here, you get a corrective structure in 3 waves. Then you can get this one to push lower. For now, silver can still go as far up as 23 or 21.5, but we need to get a corrective structure here first. That pullback that we're talking about. That is silver. On the weekly, let's look in the short term, lower time frame. Lower time frame, you've got a pulse move in the opposite direction. You've got a move up here, pulse move here. You can be doing this here, can be doing this. So you can be getting that corrective structure that I'm talking about, forming this way, making an A, B, C structure, with the red being your whole correction. So look at this in the 1 hour. So that's the structure in the 1 hour. Let's see if I've got any markings there. Okay, so you've got a pulsing move here on the 1 hour. You've got a 3-way move up. 1, 2, 3. This is correcting here. You can get 1, 2, 3 to retest the top here, come back down, and then push higher. Okay, so that's what you could be getting here on silver. So let's wait for this corrective structure. You should get a bit of a push to the upside here to retest this top here, back, and then continue to the with a move to the upside. So this will be an ABC structure. Let's see how that plays out. That is silver. Now let's look at the yen, the pound pairs. Looking at the pound pairs, we'll start with pound chief. So the pound pairs are all in these corrective structures, the pullbacks that we want them to, continue to the downside. Now let's switch this off here. Looking at this now, we've got what looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave move. If that is the 5-wave move that we're looking at, we want this to drop, right? But now it is not dropping, but rather making this corrective structure here. We're going sideways still. So this is the move here. This is a corrective structure. We could get another one like this. And if we get another one like that, that means you're going to have one more up before we drop. Okay, so let's see how this one plays out. We're still sideways. We'll be tracking this corrective structure to see if we're going to have a continuation pattern to the upside, but the whole move will still be corrective. Okay, the whole move will still be corrective, and that's what we're going to be looking at there. All right, please hold on a second, guys. All right, so this is what we're looking at on Chief. So we'll be looking for this to be a corrective structure here and push higher. 3 up, 11 string sequence to the upside. When this is complete, it will do this and then drop. That's pound chief. Pound Audi. Now looking at pound Audi, the same thing. Now if you remember pound Audi, if I go to the weekly on pound Audi, not the weekly, I want the, yeah, so if you go to the daily on pound Audi, you'll see that we focused that we're going to have this X corrective structure here in red before it even happens. So now we've got this. This has not confirmed yet. We can see that there's a pulsing move to the downside. What we're waiting for is a corrective structure and confirmation that we are ready to come down. You've got a 3-wave move up here, down here, and then you've got a 3-wave pullback here. We're starting with a pulsing move to the downside. This needs to confirm downside. Okay. Yes, it's looking downside, but you don't just take it because it's going down. You need to have a confirmation. And why are we looking to take this one to the downside? If you look at the weekly view here, I'll show you the weekly view. That's because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. W, X, Y, X, Z. W, X, Y, X, and Z here. So that's what you're looking for here. So if this confirms, we are now, it means we are now ready to come all the way to the downside. So this is going to be a big move to the downside. So that's what you're looking for there. And this move can be this one. Could be very big move. So that's what you're looking for. For now, let's go to the lower time frame on the 4-hour. 4-hour. We've already got that, and then we'll be looking for this one to drop a little bit lower. Okay, so this can still do that and then continue to the downside. So this will be a 1, 2, 3, and then we drop. So watch this corrective structure. If you get a correction here, it's going to go all the way. Okay, for now, you can actually already take a trade to the downside. Looking good, but there's no confirmation to take this one. If you're a conservative trader like me, you'll wait for the confirmation. For now, the trend is still up. The confirmation for downside is not there as yet. That is pound AUD. Pound New Zealand's got a similar structure as pound AUD. Let's look at this one on the daily, or we are on the daily there. So this looks pretty impulsive, although you can see that we've got 3 waves like we do with pound AUD. So this is a 3-wave pullback. We'll be looking for this one to drop also and make a structure like this. All this needs to be confirmed before they play out. Pound CAD. Also this corrective structure, we're looking for this one to drop, start correcting here, and then move to the downside. Now let's look at this one in the 4-hour and look at that specific corrective structure. Now on the 4-hour on this one, we're looking for this to do this. 1, 2, 3. Are we done with the move to the upside and are we ready to come down? So let's see here. So similarly with can't remember which one had this structure. We needed to get a bit of a pullback before we get a move to the downside. So if you see any pullback here, that's not a reversal. It's just going to retest this stop here and then we drop. So watch this. If you don't get that pullback, you need to get a corrective structure here on this level. This needs to correct here before we come to the downside here. That's what you're going to be looking for on this one. Euro pound. So euro pound has dropped from the level that we wanted it to drop from. So if you look on the daily, you've got a clear impulsive move. You've got a clear impulsive move here. And you're looking for this to correct. Get a clear corrective structure here and the drop here. Okay, so where is this coming from? It's coming from this long-term view here. If you want to take a screenshot of this, this is the labeling on this one. So we wanted it to push higher. So from this level, I showed that we needed to push higher. Even if we retest this top here, it's going to drop here. So we've got an impulsive move now. All we need is a clear corrective structure, a deep corrective structure to take us all the way down. Okay, so that is euro pound. EURCHF. We looked at EURCHF during the trade setups. Now EURCHF, there's a small trade to the downside that we're looking at now to complete to the blue box. This is the corrective structure that you're looking for. You don't see what the correction is on the daily, you need to look at it in the 4-hour. Okay, so the 4-hour. So the 4-hour also not very clear if it's going to drop from current levels. You've got 1, 2, 3 up here. You've got what looks like it's going to be 1, 2, 3 down. So if that is the case, you may get 1, 2, 3 up first before you go, and that will be a regular flat. If I take this off, that's what you're going to get there, and this will be a 3-wave move WXY with a complex Y corrective structure there. That's what you're going to get there. So watch for this one. So now, what are you going to look for out now? You're going to look for this one here. You're going to take this trade here in case this is going to go all the way. Okay, you need to move it to break even when you get here because it can do this and then drop. Either way, you won't lose the trade. You're just going to look for a new entry when you get to this level, if you get to this level. That's how you manage that. Euro New Zealand. Now, Euro New Zealand, you've got a nice pulsing move to the downside there. Even Let's look at the weekly first. Let's look at the weekly first and see the structure that we're looking at. Looking at the weekly. So Euro New Zealand, you remember that we took the trade from here, dropped, we wanted it to come here for 1,000 pips. It only made 700 and reversed. Now that changed our structure to this. Running flat. Now we looked at this to be a 1, 2, 3. Now we're looking for this to do this, move down, and a move down. So we've got a pulsing move here and an entry point here that we can look at and take this one to the downside. Let's look at now. Let's go back now to the lower time frame for that impulsive move. Let's go 4 hour. You've seen already there's an impulsive move there. Let's go auto. That is your impulsive move. You want to get a corrective structure to enter for downside. Okay, this euro, that's what you're going to be looking for. Euro Audi. Euro Audi just follows Euro New Zealand. Already have an entry point there. You may have missed this one already, so wait for another one. Wait for another entry for downside. EURCHF also already down. Now what you want here with the EURCHF is you're checking here to see if you're not going to have a bounce here. But because we're looking at the other euro pairs to move to the downside, we're not expecting the bounce, but rather expecting this to continue with a move to the downside. That's EURCHF. Right, so let's look at some of the cross pairs. Looking at AUDJPY. AUDJPY, we're seeing that we have got this regular flat here. We should get continuation pattern to the downside. Okay. Audi New Zealand just keeps on pushing higher. Let's go on to the daily on this one. At least retest this top. Let's get the right tool there. At least back to this top here. So you're going to have 3 up, correction. Let's see if we're going to have another 3 up here, pullback. Okay, we should have a pullback at the top. That is Audi New Zealand CADJPY. It's a 3-wave pullback there. We'll be looking for this to continue with them to continue downside. If we go to the lower time frame for hour, we've already made this structure 1. You've got a complex corrective structure there. So that is 3 up, 3 back, 3 up. Now you're looking for this. This could be actually a very nice one. Look for it for a correction here. You could be getting it here and you'll take it down here. But you need to get a confirmation of this corrective structure here. This CADJPY. So watch CADJPY, looks very interesting. Audi CAD. Audi, we're looking for it to bounce up here. Either retest this level. Let's look for this to retest this level in the next coming trading sessions. New Zealand CAD. New Zealand CAD made a pulsing move here on the 4 hour. Just wait for it to make a 3-wave move here. The trend is still down, it's not reversed yet. Can still be continuing to the downside, but you've got a bit of a short move to the upside. New Zealand CHF, not as aggressive. You could be getting this structure here. Okay, next trading session, you just expect it to come and retest the top here. Right now, lastly, oil. It's one of the setups that we have currently in the group, and I've posted this one in our trade setups on the daily. So on the daily, this is what we have. Not Brent crude. Let's look at West Texas. We had this pulsing move to the upside, and I said we want this to break out of this structure. We had this one here, and this is the correction that I'm looking for. We've got this corrective structure. Now it looks like we are now pushing higher. Okay, so but we need to get this one to correct over here, and it's going to go retest the top here. If we already have this corrective structure here, now we're going to be looking for oil to go test that level. Okay, now after that, we'll look for this one to do this. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at on oil. We have this one as a trade setup. It has made now this corrective structure. It made 1, 2, 3 first up here. down here, and when it made this pulsing move, I said we're gonna have this correction. This correction has now happened. Are we ready to get another one here and push higher? That's what we're gonna be looking at on oil. And that's all I have for you for this week, guys. So don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for attending. Have a great week. Good luck. Cheers, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.